Hello, let's get a little bit more advanced with how we can start styling up our page now. What we're going to look at here is just the first two tags, the first two elements in our HTML document here. What we would like to do is maybe group these together and put them as a header on top of our page so it's nice and centered on the page, and then maybe has like a colored box around it, okay? Really just to differentiate it from the rest of the page. So we want to really group this together and style it as one big header. The first thing we're going to talk about is just a little bit of terminology, which is the concept of a HTML element. So these things here we've learned are called tags. When we consider the opening and the closing tags and the information within it, the whole thing there is called an element. Okay, so that's a HTML element. HTML elements are composed of tags plus attributes plus content that is inside the tags. I'd like to somehow group these two elements together so that we can style them as one thing. So remember that we can have elements nested inside other elements. Okay, so for instance, the body element consists of all these other elements inside it. These are the child elements of this body parent element. So if I want to group these two together, I'm going to create a parent element for these two elements and then put the H1 and the P element inside it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new element now. So just right underneath the body, I'm going to open up my angle bracket and I'm going to type in div. Okay, so a div is a special type of tag that allows you to group elements together that are contained within it. Okay, so this is a div tag. Okay, like that, and see how it automatically creates the ending tag for us. I'm going to cut that ending tag and put it underneath there, and then I'm going to go to the two child elements within it and press tab to indent. Okay, so we can see there that we've created that new tag there that is a parent to the H1 and the P tags. So at the moment, it's not really doing anything special, hasn't changed the formatting at all. We have just grouped it in our HTML. So the thing with the div tag, we can use them as many times as we like to group different things together. So for instance, if I wanted to do another div, okay, I can do this. So you don't have to follow along here, but I'm just going to show you as a demonstration. You can kind of do this and then maybe group these two bits together as something else. And then maybe you can create another div at the bottom that has a footer. Okay, so you can have many divs inside your HTML file. So I'm just going to undo that one. So as a result, we need a way of telling apart the different divs, because if we want to style this div differently to that other div, we need to kind of give this one a name or some way of identifying it differently to another. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to identify this div separately by creating an attribute for it called class. So I'm going to type in class equals, and then I'm going to say this is the header. Okay, so this is saying that we've got this div that groups this H1 and P together, and it's got a class, which is kind of the category that it belongs to, and this category is called the header. So once again, no changes to our content, but what this means now is we can go over to our style. We can start to style this particular group of elements inside this header tag as one. So let's do that right now. Go over to my style.css. Now, you'll notice that the three selectors that we had before are referring to the HTML tags directly, body, H1, and image. Now that we've got a div tag, and there could be many of these, we want to refer specifically to those div tags that have the class of header. So we're no longer selecting tags based on the actual tag. We're actually selecting the tags based on their class attribute. So what that means is over here, we're not going to just type div, and we're not just going to type header, because these are selecting on that particular tag, and header is not the tag, it's the class attribute of the div tag. So in order to select by class attributes, we're going to use the dot symbol, okay? So dot header will refer to any tags in our HTML document that have a class of header. Okay, so that's what dot header means. It's referring to class of header. So I'm going to do the same thing, open up the brackets. And in this case, let's just say to start with, I want to center Lala the doggy and all about the best dog in the world. Have that be centered on the screen. So the style we use for that is called text-align and center. Click that out there, save it, refresh the page. Okay, and you can now see that that is now nice and centered. And notice how that one style text align center has been applied to both of the children for that div tag with the class of header. And likewise, what I'm going to do now is maybe add just a colored box around it. So to do that, I'm going to go back to my style, look at my header selector, my header class selector, and I'm going to type in background color, and then here, let's pick a color, beige. That looks terrible. Let's pick another color, make it blue, light blue. There you go, maybe light blue. Now we have this header that is pretty distinguished from the rest of the document, and it is grouping together the first H1 and the P, and it's being referenced in this CSS file like that.